millions of programs.
In Haiti, what are you doing?
In Haiti, and that's fascinating. That's fascinating. Well, first we had these literacy centers for slave children. Had 95 of them.
95 children?
95 schools.
Okay. Wow.
Each with about 25 to 50 kids in it. So take 95 multiplied by
about... When you
about
say
30.
slave children?
These are children that come from families that are so poor that their families have given them away. And those who take them in, promising to take care of them, really reduce them into slave-like children. They're not called slaves, they're called restaveks, but their lives are oppressed to the nth degree. We have to run our classes from 4:30 in the afternoon until 9 at night because the kids have got to do their slave labor all day long.
Oh.
But we've come up with even something better than that now. Better than that. A couple of Mennonite kids came to work with us. And they came up with this idea of setting up literacy programs for adults. What they do is they get about 12 people together. They give them Bibles in the Creole language. That's the language of Haiti, Creole. And they teach these people how to read out loud phonetically, sounding out the words by reading the letters. And then after they read these verses, they have to explain what they have read so that they just don't sound the words. They have to show that they have really understood what they have read. So we've got this great literacy program built around reading the Bible and explaining the Bible. So the people who are in this program twice a week come together and read the Bible to each other and explain the Bible to each other, even as they're learning how to read. We've been training adults to do this. We now have set up training programs, and we have trained somewhere in the vicinity, and this is only in 1 year, 10,000 adults. Each of them is running training programs for children in their respective villages and community. So we are estimating that on any given day, probably somewhere around 50 to 70,000 boys and girls are learning how to read in these little villages and hamlets out in the hills under the auspices of people who have learned how to read in our reading program, who are constantly being upgraded in their training. Wow. So what we're doing is saying, we're not going to do it anymore. We're going to equip Haitian people to train the village people, the village children, on how to read and write in their own communities. We figure we will be able to eliminate illiteracy in Haiti by getting people to learn how to read the Bible and explain the Bible to each other. And we're going to be doing this on a massive scale. It's already happening.
You think you'll obliterate illiteracy?
I think give us 10 years and I think we can do it.
Really?
I think we can do it. Yeah.
EAPE, that's good soil.
That's a good place.
Do you want to plant some seed?
Yeah.
Those TV preachers, they talk about planting the seed, but they don't talk about the soil much.
Yeah.
You got to check the soil out. You throw your seed on Interstate 40, you ain't getting tomatoes.
That's right.
You got it, and that's good soil. I've seen the school in Camden. When I'm sitting here hearing you quote all these facts and figures and numbers, there's no way. It just sounds like one more TV evangelist telling you what he's doing with your money. But he's doing it. I've been there. I've been to Camden. I saw the school. I saw the barbed wire fence around the school because the drug dealers are standing right outside, and how the teachers have to walk the kids to the bus or to their homes because these drug dealers are standing
That's right. Well, it's this way. They want to learn about what we're doing. I have a website. It's www.tonycampolo.org. And under that, you can get all the things that we're doing. Yeah.
Okay, next question. We did that. Have we done spiritual gifts? Or
we haven't done Sabbath.
Let's do the Sabbath.
Because you were going to talk about that.
Let's do this. Here we go.
Hi, Mark. Thanks so much for offering this podcast with Tony Campolo. I had a question. My name is Penny, and I'm from Massachusetts. And my question is regarding the Ten Commandments. In Exodus 20, verses 8 through 12, it talks about the Sabbath day. And it says in verse 9 that 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. And in verse 10 it says, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. And verse 8, of course, says, remember the Sabbath day. I'd like to find out if you guys know the answer as to why our world as the majority tends
Well, thanks, Penny. I always heard, because we do worship on Sunday, that Jesus rose on Sunday, and so we started worshiping on Sunday. But it says to keep the Sabbath day holy, to rest on the Sabbath day, right? It doesn't say that you have to, does it say you have to worship or go to church on the Sabbath day? No, I don't think so.
Well, what does it mean to keep it holy? What do
I'll
you
say
think?
take a nap, rest.
That's important. We're not. She's got a point
Okay.
that the Sabbath is not being observed.
What does it mean to observe it, though?
I think it means to stop your everyday labors and pamper your soul. To be still, to be quiet, to reflect. The Jewish people, Orthodox Jews, give us a good model of how to keep Sabbath. The Seventh-day Adventists do a good job on how to keep Sabbath. Not as good as the Orthodox Jews do.
How do they do it better?
Well, for instance, the Orthodox Jews would not cook on the Sabbath. All the food is prepared the day before.
Okay.
They don't go on long trips. They spend time with the family. There's quiet, there's stillness. They read Scripture. They meditate upon the Word. It's a very, very quiet, still time for the soul to catch up.
That sounds great.
To be still. One of my friends who married an Orthodox Jew and became Orthodox Jewish herself said, at first it was such a bother, and then after a while it became totally addictive. To have a day when no phone, you never answer the phone.
I don't do that now.
You don't do any work. You just sit around and enjoy.
Sounds like every day to me.
You sit around and enjoy each other.
See?
And just.
And what is today?
Yeah.
This is Saturday. This is Saturday.
They're the Seventh-day Adventists and make a big point out of the fact that it should be Saturday, because the word Saturday is actually the word Sabbath.
Which would mean?
And they would say, you're not keeping the Sabbath day.
That's literally.
Yeah, but I always have to remind them of what Paul writes in the 14th chapter of Romans. He writes this: some people observe one day as unto the Lord, and other people observe another day unto the Lord. And then he says, it doesn't really make any difference as long as you set aside a day to worship the Lord. I find that most of us do not set aside a day to worship and to be still and to be quiet and to observe Sabbath. Please note, here's a very interesting thing. The Sabbath is the commandment that is talked about most in the Bible, more than any other commandment.
Really?
Talk about the Sabbath is more prominent than talk about any of the other commandments. Number one. Number two, it's the only commandment that begins with the word remember. Remember the Sabbath day. In the midst of your busyness, remember, stop, look, listen, wait patiently upon the Lord. And that's so important.
Why do you think that's important to him, to God? I mean, why? Is it because our bodies need the rest?
Yes, it does. Because,
or is it he needs the attention?
You know what it says in the Scriptures? It says that God on the seventh day rested. If you read it in the original Hebrew, and I don't know Hebrew, a rabbi told me this.
Okay.
The word literally means it was the day in which God took a deep breath. Oh,
wow. That
isn't
made me
that
want to take one.
Work, work, work. Go, go, go. Work. Do you ever stop?
Well, do you,
and take
Tony,
a deep breath?
Ever stop? Take
you
a
know,
deep breath?
that may be one of the sins that I commit, that I don't take Sabbath often enough. I need to take a day.
It's hard for you.
I know it is. I know
Why?
it is. You know, I think it's ego.